Good morning, everyone, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to speak to you today to open the Society of Petroleum Engineers Aberdeen Conference on Carbon Capture, Utilisation and Storage, a technology which the Scottish Government believes is absolutely pivotal for our energy future. I can see from those attending and wide range of topics covered that it's going to be a thought-provoking and informative few days, offering a great opportunity for sharing ideas and information around energy transition, decarbonisation, and the vital role that CCUS can play. I'm aware of the Society's position as a global organisation, serving managers, engineers, scientists and other professionals in the upstream segment of the oil and gas industry. I'm also very aware that the Aberdeen section, which represents Scottish members, is one of the world's largest SPE sections, perhaps a solid testament to Aberdeen and indeed Scotland's position as a global leader in oil and gas. I'd like to take this opportunity to speak about the importance of the energy transition and the role of CCUS to that transition, as well as the opportunities it presents to the oil and gas industry, and particularly here in Scotland. But first, I'd like to reflect on the strength of the wider energy sector in Scotland and the Scottish Government strategy to support you. As you'll be aware, the energy industry in Scotland has an incredibly rich history and knowledge base, one which I believe will be an invaluable resource in the global transition to a net zero future. The Scottish Government understands the importance of the sector to the economy, and we want to see that maintained and indeed to grow the energy sector further and help it meet its full potential. That's why we've committed £62 million to the Scottish Government's Energy Transition Fund, which will support our energy sector and help make significant progress on the energy transition in the expectation that the combined public and private sector investment this particular package will help unlock will be in excess of around £900 million. Our own investment, while Scotland-wide, will have a particular focus on the northeast of Scotland, underpinning the region's ambitions to become a world leader in the transition to net zero and helping Scotland meet its ambitious targets on climate change. Scotland's energy strategy, which I launched just under 3 years ago and which built into it a strong role for the oil and gas sector, recognises the importance of working with international partners to better understand the transition to a net zero economy, and it commits the Scottish Government to support internationalisation efforts in relation to energy. We will publish a refresh of our energy strategy next year, highlighting our priorities and the bold actions we intend to deliver as we continue to work towards our ambitious target set by the Scottish Parliament of a 75% reduction in emissions by 2030 against the 1990 baseline, and net zero emissions of all greenhouse gases by 2045. Of course, the energy transition will shape the future of this country and create significant opportunities for organisations across all energy sectors. Our oil and gas industry can provide much of the expertise and skills needed to support this transition, and they will be essential in unlocking the opportunities for the integration of on and offshore energy systems, a key step on Scotland's own pathway to a greener and fairer economy and society. Scotland has over 40 years' experience of operating oil and gas infrastructure in the hostile environment of the North Sea, and the sector possesses vital subsea skills which can help overcome the engineering and innovation challenges presented by the move to a low-carbon future. These skills are already being utilised in innovative growth sectors such as solar, hydrogen, offshore wind and CCUS itself. Now, it's essential that all sectors come together to maximise the mutual opportunities that this transition will bring. It is clear that one of these transitional opportunities is the deployment of CCUS in Scotland, throughout the UK and globally. The Scottish Government supports the development of CCUS as a common, flexible, whole system decarbonisation infrastructure, which will play a central role across the decarbonisation of key sectors such as heat, industry and power. CCUS provides options for our means of decarbonisation and unlocks opportunities for action within these sectors. The International Energy Agency's own analysis indicates there's no scenario for the global community below a 4-degree increase in global average temperatures where CCUS is not part of the solution. So we believe Scotland is in a unique position to undertake carbon capture and storage on an industrial scale, and that the opportunity to repurpose key existing pipeline infrastructure assets already in place provides the most cost-effective pathway to the deployment of CCS. Scotland's key resource is our vast potential for CO2 storage in the North Sea, estimated at 46 gigatons in depleted oil and gas reservoirs in Scottish waters. As we see with the Acorn project, legacy oil and gas infrastructure offers us rare access to these storage sites. Industrial decarbonisation via CCS at key Scottish clusters and facilities could utilise existing onshore pipeline infrastructure and or existing shipping facilities to transport CO2. And we're working closely with the Acorn project at St Fergus, who are engaging with approaches to transport CO2 safely and in volume. The development of CCUS also has the potential to offer a range of exciting opportunities for Scotland's workers. Scotland already has the expertise and transferable skills to kickstart what could become an important new industry essential to supporting our energy transition. Now, there's an opportunity that's presented by being an early mover in CCS, coupled with our vast storage assets, and we hope Scotland can support and capitalise on decarbonisation across Europe. Securing a significant proportion of the carbon storage element of an emerging European CO2 management market will provide opportunities and employment through the supply chain. To support our understanding of how industry may develop, the Scottish Government has this year commissioned an economic impact assessment that will develop our estimates of job creation and understanding of the potential economic impacts. It's therefore clear that, coupled with our existing oil and gas capabilities, our ready supply chain and strategically important industrial clusters, Scotland is potentially the best placed country in Europe to realise CCUS on a commercial scale. Our latest programme for government, which sets out our policy priorities and legislative priorities for the year ahead, was published by the First Minister in September and reaffirms our support and investment in the development of CCUS projects in Scotland. This includes commitments to commission a suite of research projects for CCUS, working with membership organisation Nexus and Scottish Government agencies on the development of the Scottish Net Zero Roadmap and consulting stakeholders on the scope, operation and governance of a £5 million carbon capture and utilisation challenge fund. All of these commitments are important both to the development of CCUS in Scotland and the key role it will play in the energy transition. And turning to that, CCUS is clearly a vital component of our energy transition. Indeed, it's crucial for industrial decarbonisation, creating options and providing industry with the flexibility to transition their products and services to net zero. Carbon capture can be applied to energy production, low carbon hydrogen production, and energy intensive industrial processes, preventing large-scale CO2 emissions from entering the atmosphere. Without the rollout of CCUS technologies, industry and governments around the world will continue to struggle to meet our net zero target and face challenging decisions with far-reaching economic and ecological consequences. CCUS, therefore, is an imperative for our future here in Scotland, but also for Europe and the wider global community. Now, the development of strategically located CCUS infrastructure in Scotland's industrial clusters in Grangemouth and the northeast of Scotland could protect and ensure that important domestic industries such as petrochemicals and gas processing, cement manufacturing are able to adapt to the future low carbon world that is the aim of the Paris Agreement. The Scottish Government is already supporting efforts to deploy CCS on the ground in Scotland. Already we have provided modest but important funding of £275,000 to the Acorn CCS project, a standalone industrial CCS project to engineer a minimum viable full chain CCS project to initiate CCS in the UK. The project, led by energy consultants Pale Blue Dot and based at St Fergus in the northeast of Aberdeenshire, is considered the most advanced CCS project in the UK and is expected to be operational by the mid-2020s. That being the case, we have to seize that opportunity for Scotland. Acorn plans to be able to import CO2 for storage via shipping from 2026, which will provide opportunities to support the decarbonisation plans of our European neighbours. Acorn is perfectly located next to key infrastructure assets and also has options for low carbon hydrogen production also at St Fergus. Indeed, an Acorn hydrogen project is being developed in parallel and in close alignment with the Acorn CCS project. The successful development of carbon capture, transportation and storage facilities could also open up further complementary activity, including direct air capture, bioenergy and CO2 utilisation. Our £5 million carbon capture and utilisation fund demonstrates our commitment to this future thinking. Now, industrial decarbonisation is a global challenge. In Scotland, we have provided funding of £300,000 to establish the North East Carbon Capture, Utilisation and Storage Nexus as the representatives of the Scottish Industrial Cluster. Launched in November 2019 in the Scottish Parliament, Nexus is an alliance drawn from industry, academia, membership organisations and private sector bodies to promote CCUS in Scotland. Its objectives include articulating and promoting the CCUS offering provided in Scotland, to attract funding for CCUS in Scotland and to secure the first CCUS project in the UK here. Nexus will also lead the development of Scotland's net zero roadmap, which will identify and evaluate the options available for the journey to achieving low carbon and indeed net zero industrial clusters. This will be complemented by emerging works towards Scotland's net zero infrastructure, which focuses on infrastructure required to support plans for decarbonising Scotland's industrial clusters. So as this conference demonstrates, it's becoming increasingly important and clear that CCUS has an essential role to play in our energy transition. I would like to reaffirm today that the Scottish Government's commitment to supporting the development of CCUS in Scotland and worldwide is resolute, and which will be backed up by continuing our active support for CCUS developments here in Scotland. I will end by thanking the Society of Petroleum Engineers for inviting me to speak today on such an important subject, and I want to wish you all an enjoyable conference, and indeed in ending my contribution, just hope you all stay safe and well, and your families indeed, despite the challenges we all face at this time. Thank you very much for hearing me today.